Hello, my name is Sam, and welcome to my Tiny Glade series. In this series, I typically take the daily Tiny Glade pre-builds and challenge myself to creating a visually appealing scene within a 1 hour time frame. Then I edit the footage, add some fast forward effects, and share a few tidbits related to the build. For today's video, I'm using a pre-built bakery. I first began a rebuild of the crumbling structure and decided it might be fun to create an open-face build of a working bakery/cafe. Later on, I decided that my build did not look complete without a roof, so I added that for finality. So with that being said, let's get into the informational tidbits of the video and learn about the history of baking and bakeries. The earliest known baking began with ancient civilization, like the Sumerians, of what is now modern-day Iraq and Kuwait, and the Egyptians, who ground grains into flour, mixed them with water, and cooked them on hot stones or in simple clay ovens to create flatbread. The Sumerians brewed beer, often using fermented grains, which led to the early forms of yeasted bread. And around 2600 BCE, the Egyptians discovered how to use wild yeast for fermentation and created the world's first leavened bread, which is bread that is risen due to the incorporation of a leavening agent. The leavening agent, which is commonly a form of yeast, creates air pockets and makes the bread light and fluffy. Think of pita, sourdough, and baguette. At around 1100 BCE, the Greeks introduced enclosed ovens and refined flour, creating artisanal bread that was sold in markets. Around that time, the Romans perfected bakery techniques, establishing public bakeries called a pastrina, where citizens could bring their dough to be baked. The more wealthy Romans enjoyed fine white bread, while the poor typically ate coarser, darker bread made from barley. In 168 BCE, the first known bakers' guild, called the Collegium Pistorium, was formed in Rome. This organization played a pivotal role in regulating bread production, ensuring quality standards, and maintaining a steady supply of this essential staple to the Roman populace. But after the fall of Rome, bread making became a household chore, or was done by monasteries, which baked bread for the clergy and the poor. By the 10th century, bakeries started appearing in towns and markets, but most homes still didn't have ovens. Instead, citizens would bring their dough to communal ovens run by local bakers. Baking was considered an essential trade, and by the 14th century, most bakeries in Europe were controlled by guilds who regulated bakeries and bakers in order to maintain quality, pricing, and fair compensation. They would also determine who could bake and sell bread, ensuring quality standards. Around that time, rye, fine white loaves, pies, and tarts became popular baked goods in England and France. The rise of patisseries and fine baking began around the 17th century. France perfected the art of patisserie with elaborate pastries like croissants and eclairs. England became known for their meat pies, puddings, and yeasted cakes, while Germany produced pretzels and gingerbread. The first mechanical dough mixers were developed in the late 18th century. A small-scaled hand-cranked device with a rotating mixing paddle sped up baking processes. And by the 19th century, baking soda and baking powder revolutionized cake making, leading to the rise of sponge cakes. The 20th century introduced industrialized baking, making bread widely available through supermarkets and packaged goods. In the 1970s to the 1990s, the focus was on convenience, and thus the creation of box cake mixes and pre-sliced bread were created. However, in the 20th century, there has been a resurgence in artisanal baking, with an emphasis on sourdough, ancient grains, and traditional techniques. The globalization of bread making has led to a wider variety of international baked goods becoming mainstream. From Japanese cheesecakes to Turkish simit, people all over the world can sample some of the world's finest baked goods in their own cities and towns. So there you have it. I know this video was a bit on the shorter side, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless and learned a bit more about the evolution of baking. If you did, please give this video a like and follow to stay up to date on my next upload. Now, you'll have to excuse me as I have a strong urge to go and whip up some focaccia. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!